Today on Don't Panic Pantry, we are making a rustic pork ragu. It's my new favorite way to make a little goo. Ben does not like when I call it goo. I don't think anyone does. To do this today, we're essentially gonna take big chunks of tougher cuts of pork, and we're gonna cut them into big pieces. We're gonna sear them so they get nice and browned, and then we're gonna braise them in tomatoes and milk and white wine, mostly tomatoes with a little bit of white wine, a little bit of milk, garlic and shallots, rosemary, thyme, maybe a sprig of basil. Take the meat chunks out, pull them, put them back in. You'll have a nice rustic pork ragu.
What do you think of the chunks out? Pull them.
What do you think about the term if I start calling it a pork goo? Like a little protein pouch, but instead of almond butter, it's just slow braised pork.
Goo goo. Yeah.
You look nice.
I do?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really quickly, just start heating.
The utensils are over here.
It's okay. Heating a little bit of oil. We're gonna get it to like a nice medium heat. Here are 2 cuts of meat. A pork collar, which is actually probably my favorite thing to use for this.
Why don't you tell people what a pork collar is?
It's like a collar.
Oh.
It's their collar ID. One thing you want to think about too when you're searing meat is you want it to be fully dried off. If it's wet, if there's moisture, it won't brown, which kind of defeats the purpose of searing it. There's no such thing as sealing in the juices. It just makes it taste better, it gives it texture and color, and it's delicious. I'm just gonna take this piece right here, and this is gonna have a little bit of fat to it. I don't want a ton of fat on this. I really am actually just gonna cut this into like quarters. I'm kind of just eyeballing a lot. This is kind of a big portion I'm making, but I believe in kind of making, it's just as easy to make a big pot of this as a small pot. You could do this with 2 pounds of pork and do a smaller portion of it. On this side, we've got a pork butt, but basically this is more like what you'd use for like a pulled pork classically in like barbecue. And this actually has way more fat than I need. As a result, I'm gonna take some of this fat off and we're going to save it. Maybe I'll make lard out of it. Maybe I'll throw it away. I'll probably make lard out of it. I'll probably throw it away. I'm actually gonna take this whole strip of fat off. This bone coming in here, we wanna keep that bone in for flavor. Again, super rustic. All we're doing is searing this. We're gonna pull it later. Just a little bit of oil right here in the pan. And then we're just gonna start searing this off in batches. And if it doesn't all fit, you just do it in batches and you get to the next one. But you're looking for it to be a nice golden brown, even like a kind of a deeper mahogany brown, just to get good color on all the outside parts of this. That looks great. That's like what you're looking for. All right, so while that's searing, let's just chop up some alliums real quick. I've got about 5 pounds of pork. I'm doing 5 garlic cloves and like 5 small shallots. Get our heat to like a medium low. And now we're just gonna take all these tasty things we made and we're gonna put them right in. And now these are just cooking in a little bit of that canola, but mostly it is rendered high quality pork fat. A little pinch of salt. I mean, there's no way that's not gonna be good, right?
Can I have a bite?
It's not cooked. You can take this little crispy guy.
No,
This is fine.
Delicious.
Tasty?
Yeah, pork crackling.
It basically is. Ben, you want a
It looks so good.
crispy boy? 2 things of rosemary. You could use 1. This may be a little more than you need, but we're going big flavors on this guy. Throw some rosemary in, throw some thyme sprigs in. Actually, shit, I should do that. Hold on. What I'd like to do, actually, is get a little bit of kitchen twine and tie it together. All right, here we go. Crushed red pepper, etc. It's great. I happen to have some Calabrian chili paste, which is just a great thing. And now see this stuff down here at the bottom? All this beautiful brown flavor on there? Guess what it's time for? The old white wine deglaze. I got about almost somewhere between 3/4 and a cup. And now you're able to deglaze all of that tasty business. I mean, how good does that smell already? And then just a quick little hand crush. Again, rustic pork ragu. Now this is going, we can take this guy, put him back in. We're gonna add a little bit of milk to this as well. It's great for breaking down The lactic acid in it kind of breaks things down. So what we're gonna do actually, because they charge you for these, we're gonna pour some in here, swirl the can, pour that right in there. I don't know, like a quarter cup all told. Pour that in, and then the tomatoes are gonna go right in as well. I kind of like a saucier meat sauce. I don't need it to be pure meat and that's it. And so I like the acid that the tomatoes give. That's why there's no tomato paste in here. I'm just gonna bring this up to a simmer, and then we're gonna let it cook for a couple hours, see how it's looking. Basically, you're just cooking it until the meat is tender enough to start falling apart. About 2 hours in on our pork ragu, and now, all we're doing now is just taking this and putting it on a plate so it can cool off a little bit, and then I'll shred it and put it all back in. God, that smells so good. Just let that cool off a little bit till it's cool enough to handle, then we'll either just pull it with our hands or with 2 forks, put it back in, and you got a pork ragu. Give this like another 20-30 minutes to kind of rehydrate those bits of pork, and also any pieces that were a little tough still are gonna sort of get nice and tender in there now. And I think we're gonna be in a very good shape. The meat is back in. It's been cooking for a little bit, about half an hour. And now take a look at this. This is a nice rustic pork ragu. I mean, it looks pretty fucking good, right? Once in a while, I like realize that I'm not a fine dining chef. I'm just like a guy who ran a barbecue restaurant at one point and knows how to make food that tastes good. A little pecorino. Should I try it first?
Yeah, I don't like tagliatelle.
I know, but this was the end of a thing I had in the pantry.
It's not my favorite. I'm not a tagliatelle person. It's so good. I reneged. Everything I've ever said about you, it's so good. Oh my God. It's so, I hate the word hearty.
You say decadou?
It's decadou. This is the ultimate comfort food.
And don't you kind of like it that it's like a little more like rustic and shredded versus like a ground meat sauce?
Yes.
I kind of like that
It's like
these
pulled
days.
pork meets a flat noodle meets a really good time. Jesus Christ. Jesus fuck. This is so good. Holy shit. I gotta get out of here.
You have a dinner reservation.
I have to go to dinner.
Well, what did we learn today? I'm not very good at plating pasta sometimes, but that this is delicious.
Oh my God. If nothing else, that.